What is more important, design skills or ad skills? In my opinion, it's definitely design skills because print on demand has very low margins, and if you're trying to advertise a terrible design, you will have a terrible conversion rate and the ad won't be profitable. So you have to be able to create great designs, otherwise your ad skills are going to be worthless. If you could afford to buy a subscription to just one AI image generator and one upscaler, which ones would you choose and why? Well, for the image generator, I would actually choose Dream AI for multiple reasons. First of all, it has Ideogram, Flux, and DALL-E 3 built in, which are all great models for print on demand. You can run prompts simultaneously, which lets you generate graphics very quickly, and you don't even need to have a subscription to My Designs to use it. You can just pay as you go by adding on more credits as you need them. For the upscaler, I would actually go with Vectorizer.ai. I know this isn't an upscaler, but I prefer vectorizing my graphics because I often edit them or finalize the design within Adobe Illustrator. How can we figure out what are some of the best sellers right now and what's in high demand at the current moment? You can click on all filters right here and then select star seller from the sidebar. Now click show results. And then if you head into the search bar at the top and change your link right here from star seller to best seller and then hit enter, then as you can see, it's applied a new filter that now only shows you best sellers, meaning listings that have sold very, very frequently over the past 6 months.
Say you love the thing without saying you love the thing. So don't say, I love fishing. We've all been there. We've done that. And you say it in a different way. So instead of saying, I love camping, and you say, feeding mosquitoes since 1985. That's kind of a fun little way to say that you love the outdoors. The one I've enjoyed, and it's a longer phrase, but instead of saying, I love cooking, saying, made with love means I licked the spoon and kept on using it. I've seen that one. That's not an original one. Funny way to say that you love cooking without being quite so literal about it. Another good one for the baseball niche, especially for a woman. Instead of saying just a girl who loves baseball, I'm out of your league.
In this video, I'm going to share a bunch of free resources and tools with you, many of which I've never shared. Resource number one is Juna's website or Detour Shirts lowest to highest price, and that way all of the freebies show up at the top. Resource number two is called Bee Fonts. This is an amazing website for finding free fonts. Click on fonts for commercial use, and then you get a lot of pages of really nice looking fonts. Resource number three is my own website where I've got a freebies section right here. If you click on this, you will see a bunch of different downloads. Right next up, we've got a resource for color schemes. We've got a lot of different filters over here. You can search by the most popular color schemes. You can look at random ones. Moving on to another resource from a fellow print on demand YouTuber. Here we've got Taylor POD's website. She's got 3 free mini courses that you can get. The Kickstart program, you can just click on learn more. Here you have a ton of templates that are designed specifically around like popular t-shirt design styles, phrases, and you can use these templates and kind of remix them to match your own niche or your own phrases really, really easily. For example, let's say I want this nope design right here. Nope, not going to happen. And I want to use that kind of same theme just for other topics. You just click on it, you hit a remix right here. I want to create 8 designs, and you could just say for other animals, like you can be as bland as that. You can be more specific and say, I want designs for this specific niche or this specific animal, but you can kind of use it like you would do with ChatGPT. Talk to it like a human. I want this same style, but for similar animals. And then it's going to do that for you. Bruh, it's cooler here. Wow, so it's actually changed the phrase as well to match penguins instead of sloths. Stop seeing failure in this negative light, where it's something that you need to avoid at all costs and you need to be perfect from the beginning. I think this is a big part of the perfectionist mindset as well, where you want to learn everything from the start before you even upload your first design. You want to have everything as perfect as possible, and then you start with your business. I don't think that's a great way to go about it. It's more important that you make progress with practice, with failure involved, than having everything perfect from the beginning. It's just impossible. You need that stage of actually failing and stumbling at the beginning to get to where you want to be. So a few people have been commenting that Upscale is not available for free anymore on Mac, but there's actually a bit of a hidden method to still be able to access it totally for free. So on their homepage right here, if we click on desktop, it will bring us to the downloads page. Now, if you click on the big Apple logo right here, it will take you to the App Store and it shows us $12.99. However, if we go just a bit underneath and click on alternative downloads, we can then scroll down to where it says DMG. And if you click on this, it will download an installation file. And if you open that on your Mac, it will install Upscale for free. And you can once again go ahead and upscale the images on your device. And the best thing is you can even do this in bulk. Please recommend platforms and methods to start POD in 2025. So the big three highest potential methods or platforms that you definitely want to look into are number 1, Amazon Merch, number 2, Etsy, and number 3, having your own Shopify store. Now, besides that, I personally also get quite a lot of sales on Tostadora and Displayed. And especially Displayed, I think, is a great kind of second tier marketplace that not too many people know about, but that has got quite a lot of potential. But nevertheless, your main focus should definitely be one of the top 3, Amazon, Etsy, or Shopify, if you want to make it big with print on demand in 2025. I know you're probably feeling really demotivated right now because your sales have dropped, Q4 is over, and you feel like you're back to square one. But don't worry, everyone is in the same boat right now. The end of December and January are some of the worst times for print on demand sales. However, discipline is key because the more work you put into your business right now and throughout the year, the better you're going to do for next Q4. And don't worry, the sales are going to pick up again. February, March, things already start getting better. And especially once we get towards Mother's Day, Father's Day, usually sales are doing really well again. Here are 3 methods for effective font pairing. Method number 1 is using fonts from completely different font categories or styles. For example, a sans serif font paired with a script font. Method number 2 is using fonts that have a high contrast, for example, in their font weight. You could use a very bold font in combination with a very light font. And method number 3, and this is probably your safest bet, is using fonts from the same font family, because these are literally designed to work in harmony together and really complement one another. Again, if you're a beginner and you've uploaded 100 designs, you might assume, now I should start making a lot of regular sales, which you might do, depending on how good your designs are, your niche selection, etc. But 100 designs is not really that much. You might sell the odd one after giving it some time, but you're rarely going to jump up to like a decent income, a decent regular sort of stream of sales with just 100 designs. It's just hard to achieve with print on demand. And I'm sorry to say that most people that are successful have created thousands and thousands of designs. And if that's something that kind of puts you off, if you at the thought of creating multiple hundreds of designs or even a few thousand designs, if that's putting you off, maybe this is not the right business model for you. There is a new AI tool that can help you generate up to 120 listings in less than 1 minute. In order to access this tool, you need to create an account with My Designs and sign up to one of their paid plans. Once you've logged into your My Designs dashboard, head over to the Listings tab, click on the folder system, add a new folder with a relevant name, and open this folder. Upload files, drag and drop your design files into this, and confirm the import. Once the files are finished uploading, go ahead and select all of them, then click on Vision AI, choose the product type that you want to sell, then just go ahead and click on Generate Listing Data, and here we are. Vision AI has generated 120 listings in less than 60 seconds. We've got a title, description, and tags for all of these, and they're optimized for Etsy print on demand. Saw a hot take from you about the color selection. So most people, including me, usually say, only choose 3 or 4 colors for the t-shirts, because then people are less likely to struggle with making the choice. But I think you mentioned in one of your videos that you tend to now select all 10 color options. How's that been working out for you? Has that helped with your sales, do you think?
Yeah, it has, especially for like those cruise niches, those cruise designs and the girls trip designs. I used to be like what you said, I would just upload to black, navy, and gray. But now what I do is I'll make a design and then I'll upload it basically to all the dark colors. And then I'll take that same design and just change the color of the font to basically black. And then I'll upload that design to all light colors. So I always design for both black t-shirt and white t-shirt.
Oftentimes when I speak to people who have purchased an account or who did get terminated for buying an account, they often say that, well, I had to do it because in my country, people do not get accepted into Amazon merch. And first of all, just because no one seems to be getting accepted, that doesn't mean buying an account is okay. It's still against the terms of service and it will still lead to getting banned. However, also think about the fact that this might just be a rumor purported by the people who are selling the accounts to you, because if everyone believes it's impossible to get in, then more people are more likely to buy an account. And I think personally that it is very hard for anyone to get into Amazon merch, no matter where you live. I've spoken to many people from the USA, from the UK, from Germany, who have applied loads and loads of times to the Amazon Merch program and who've also been rejected. Are the fonts in these images actually free for commercial use? And this is a good question. It's a bit difficult to explain, but basically none of the text that you see in your AI art is an actual real font. So the AI art generators, they're coming up with this text from scratch. They might be inspired by actual fonts, but they're not sort of going to the Adobe Fonts library. They're not going there, choosing veneer, and then typing that out in the final image. They might create a grungy looking font that is similar to veneer, but it isn't the official font. So basically, yes, all of the text that's generated, you can use it commercially, just like the graphics as well. None of these are real fonts. They might look professional, but they are safe to use. Everything that AI generates might be inspired by what's come before, but it is still original and you don't have to worry about font licensing. Yeah, I would say it's tougher than it was like 5 years ago. But is it impossible? No, for sure not.
Is it tougher? Arguably, I wouldn't say absolutely, because it depends on how fast you get proficient with some of the AI tools out there, right? Like they're leveling the playing field almost as fast as the saturation level is there.
We didn't have those when we started. That's a good point.
No, man, that's what I mean, right? When I hear people afraid it's oversaturated, don't do it, don't sell t-shirts. I'm like, well, everyone's always going to need a t-shirt. And when I hear it's oversaturated, I just hear that you're afraid of competition, right? It's never too late and always a good time to start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's better to start than to keep worrying about what's the lowest competition thing to start.
Correct. Yeah, it's better to start now than wait 5 years from now and say, I should have started 5 years ago.
If your sales are going down in like the past 3 days, you think that's, you're doomed, that's the end of your POD business, but you're going to find that through anyone's journey, like happening all the time. So again, back to the earlier point, like zooming out is usually better.
Yeah.
Better for your sanity and better to show your overall progress.
Try to avoid comparing to other people out there. I know it's really hard to do because many of us share our results and share our successes and wins, but everybody's path is different, right? And only you really know, like, are you putting in maximum effort? Did something come up that maybe caused a down dip? How do you recover from that? So, don't be too hard on yourself when looking at that stuff and take each new day as a new opportunity to try and build back up.
Why do I need a designer when I've got AI?
I ask myself that every time I pay my designer a couple $100. I'm like, what am I doing here? All this AI stuff?
But I mean, I pay designers sometimes as well. Do you want to do the work yourself or not? Because with AI, you still have to do work. It's not just like done.
No, that's the thing, Philip. A lot of people think AI is the savior and I can put in a prompt and upload it straight to Amazon or upload it straight to a platform. But a lot of the time, AI is absolutely terrible. It looks bad, doesn't make any sense, or it's too realistic, or there are ways to make it look really, really good. But I still think you need to kind of have a somewhat understanding of what a good designer looks like if you're going to use AI. You can't just use AI for the sake of, like, as a cop-out, because if a bad AI design comes through, you're going to just be like, well, it was made by AI. It's got to look amazing. It's got to be amazing.
And the benefit of passive income, in my opinion, is that after those few years of putting in the work, once you have built up the passive income stream, you could technically stop and do something else. And the income will stick with you. Whereas with active income, whether it's a service-based business or a 9-to-5 job, if you put in 2 or 3 years of work and then you just stop and do nothing for a few months, most likely the income is going to drop massively or disappear completely. So let me show you what's, in my opinion, the best vectorizer out there and my settings for it as well. So the website is vectorizer.ai. I've started using it again. The results are just so amazing. And all you do here is you drop your graphic into the middle, you wait for it to finish processing, then you've got the option to change the amount of colors in your graphic. Here it is advisable to turn down the amount of colors. I often find myself cutting them in half. Then you want to click OK right here. And once this is refreshed again, you can go and click on download, and the settings that I recommend is stack shapes on top of each other and clip overflow right here needs to be turned on, and then you can click download and move on to the next graphic. The big ones that you want to ideally have a shop on are either Amazon through Amazon Merch or Seller Central, or Etsy with a custom Etsy store, or if you can do it, Shopify, have your own Shopify store and run Facebook ads to that. That takes some more budget, but those are the ways to actually make more money with print on demand. And there is some other good platforms that are kind of in the middle between Redbubble and between Amazon and Etsy, such as Tostadora, Displayed. Those are quite good from my experience. But again, if the platform that you're currently working on isn't working for you, try a different one. It might be the wrong marketplace for you. Maybe your style doesn't suit. Maybe the marketplace is just dead, doesn't have any traffic. Those are big reasons why you might not be getting any sales.
If your niche is gardening, there's likely someone on Instagram who has an account, or maybe it's like Becky's Garden, and she is out in her garden every day giving people gardening related tips, and maybe she has 32,000 followers, right? And it would be extremely powerful if you sent her a free sample of your leggings, and then she made a video wearing the leggings and told people to go check out your store to get their own, and gave them maybe a 15% discount code. Like, that's what I'm currently doing with my new store that I started in April as a primary traffic source. What I've done though is I've taken it a step further, where there's different Shopify apps that you can use to manage this. You can also just manage it manually, but when they promote that discount code to their audience, if someone uses it, they actually earn a commission on the sale. I'm now in a position where I have these people out there that are incentivized to promote my items because they know every time they sell something, they earn a commission on it, right? And they're monetizing their account.
I've got some great news to share with you. Displayed has now opened up its platform for new people to open a store without having to apply and get accepted. So if you're on the homepage, all you have to do now is click on join up here and then select I'm an artist. Then you have to enter your shop name and email and a password and then create your account. And in case you don't know what Displayed is, it's essentially a print-on-demand marketplace for metal posters. Here's a quick example of one of those right here. I've actually made a couple of videos about Displayed as well, one of which where I show you what to sell on the marketplace, and another one where I interviewed a top seller on Displayed. This marketplace has way more potential than the likes of TeePublic, Redbubble, and Spreadshirt these days, so it's definitely one worth trying out. Do I have to be a skilled graphic designer to be successful in POD? I think that's a quick and easy one to answer. You definitely don't. There's loads of people who are not. I don't want to point anyone out, but there's people in this call who would not consider themselves a graphic designer, and they're doing really well. And you can use AI now, which makes it even easier. So
hire out too. You could do that, but it's not really about how nice the design is. It's does it relate to the customer and do they want to buy it? So there's some shirts that I would buy that aren't, works of art, right? They're funny and so you got to understand what your limitations
and
are.
Some of the best selling styles on Amazon is like the most basic thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, text with color or
Text.
a little graphic.
I bet all of us here probably have a text-only design in our portfolio that sells great. And it took 2 seconds to make, or it's text only.
With AI generators, some people have the consensus that they make life harder with print on demand, because now everyone can kind of design stuff.
Oh, the competition.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a common assumption that people have. So in your opinion, has it made print on demand harder for you?
For me, no. For me, it's actually made it easier. Because I used to draw all my things by hand, and I still do some of those by hand, but now that I can use AI to generate the graphics and generate ideas, honestly, because a lot of times like, I wonder if it can do this, or I wonder if it can do this. And it can create things that I feel like nobody else has. Like if you're using clip art from whatever site, you know, everybody has access to those clip arts. But now with my imagination, right, my creativity, I can create a prompt that maybe nobody else has ever thought of.
Granted, some of those deletions might be an actual seller deciding to delete their own listing. But if you see a wave of the same niche, the same phrase, chances are some of those are because Amazon banned them, right, or deleted the design.
Yeah.
And that's where I said, okay, like, no, I've deleted those listings by now. It's not worth the risk. Like, sure, you lose out on sales by deleting a design that's already selling, but if you lose your account, you lose out on all of your sales.
And I think, you know, if anyone's out there listening and you're new to this, like, try and set these good habits, right? Like, you know, follow the terms, don't avoid the stuff that could be controversial or fringe related that, you know, you might get flagged upon, because it's a slippery slope. You may do that and get away with it the first time or even the second time. But when we're talking about building a business and longevity of an account and stuff, there's a lot of ways, many ways to be successful on this platform, and you never have to get close to anything that would flag your account. You know,
focusing on gifts is the best thing that you can do when it comes to Q4. And I think it's also the biggest thing that gets overlooked. I think immediately people start, and I was guilty of this, that's why I'm speaking on it, but designing an item that says Merry Christmas, right? It's something that's so broad, and somebody's not necessarily going to purchase that for somebody for the holiday. Whereas if it's something that's specific and relates to somebody, I think going through all of the people that you have in your life and thinking of those, maybe you have, you know, mom, dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, godmother, godfather, all of these different people, thinking of something that would connect to them and creating a product for that. I think you're going to see so much more success with it. And especially long-term success, those items, they become evergreen. They can be selling any time of year.
One of the most common reasons for Amazon merch accounts to get terminated is people infringing on trademarks or intellectual property. However, there is another very common reason for people to get banned that I see all the time, and that is that they purchased the account instead of going down the normal route and applying and getting accepted into the program. And that's why I wanted to make this video to warn you about the fact that buying accounts, selling accounts is not allowed. It's against the terms of service, and that's why they're kind of a ticking time bomb that will eventually get banned. Now, at first glance, it seems very obvious why people are so keen on passive income and why it's so intriguing, why it grabs so much attention. However, the caveat is that with passive income, there is a lot of upfront work. And typically, during this period of extensive upfront work, you don't really get paid much, and you don't really receive the rewards that someone would get who is gone down the active income route. So as soon as you've got a job, you sort of jump to a certain level of income and you get this consistently. Whereas if you start on your passive income journey, your first few months or even your first couple of years could be absolutely terrible in terms of the income that you're making.
I think it's important to remember, if you're watching this as just a print-on-demand seller, that nothing's ever as bad as it might seem. You know, I always love listening to my friend Angel from the channel Passive Income Angel. She always says, we'll see. And that's what she really adopts when anything happens, which with print on demand space, there's always something going on. Some sky is falling every few months, you know, it feels like, but everything's always fine and it's always going to be fine. We just have to make slight pivots, slight adjustments, learn a new software, but it's always going to keep moving forward. Like print on demand's not going anywhere.
I would always rather do something that I enjoy and earn less money than do something that I hate and earn more money. And I hope you can take that message home and do the same. If print on demand hasn't been working for you and you absolutely hate it, sure, try something else. If you absolutely love it, if you enjoy the work, there is definitely a great chance that you can still compete in this business and make it. It just takes time.
Don't overlook Instagram. A lot of graphic designers have their portfolios on their Instagram pages. You know, they're just showing their artwork, maybe their design style, and And if you search some hashtags like graphic designer, t-shirt designer, or illustrator, hand-drawn, you may see some accounts and you really like that style, and then send them a message and say, hey, I'm a print-on-demand seller. I'm looking for a designer. Do you sell your work? Are you interested in forming a relationship where I can pay you per design or pay you hourly? There's a lot of good people on Instagram that aren't on those job platforms, and I've found some great people that way.
Yes, and I used to be one of those people.
That's right. You were on there.
Back in my logo design days, I'd be posting logos, and yeah, you don't get a lot of people that inquire for wanting to hire you if you're like a smaller, few thousand follower Instagram page graphic designer. In the number 5 spot, we've got Copilot, which lets you generate up to 15 prompts every single day. In the number 4 spot, we've got Mystic POD, which lets you generate up to 83 prompts in total, and they have some really cool print-on-demand design templates. In the number 3 spot, we've got Playground AI with up to 15 images generated every 3 hours, and they've also got a massive library of really good looking templates for POD. The number 2 spot goes to Ideogram, which lets you generate 10 prompts, up to 40 images per day. They've got a really nice simplistic style with really good text accuracy. And the first place goes to Glaive with Flux Pro, which lets you generate up to 20 prompts per day with some amazing results and also very high text accuracy. This is essentially another unique aspect or important aspect of the Tamaz method, because fixed bids, first of all, give us more control and clarity with our data and our bidding decisions. However, it also ensures that we get a higher conversion rate, and high conversion rate is key. Why is this the case? Well, the higher you bid, the more likely your product will receive good placement. The lower you bid, the more likely your product will receive bad placement, and a better placement means you're more likely going to convert. Good placement or better placement means you will show up higher in the search, you will show up in more relevant spaces where you're more likely to generate sales. Here are 4 important steps to make sure your print-on-demand stores do not get banned. Number 1, don't copy anyone's design, otherwise you would be infringing on their copyright protection. Number 2, make sure to stay away from intellectual property, such as copying song lyrics, popular movie quotes, or anything that's related to a brand or a celebrity. Number 3, always make sure to check the content policy of whichever platform you're selling on. For example, Amazon Merch does not allow any designs related to human tragedy. And number 4, make sure to check the phrases that you're using and the listing SEO for trademarks. You can do this very easily with free tools such as TM Hunt and Productor for Merch by Amazon. How long does it usually take to start making money on Shopify?
The variables that get inputted that can either increase or decrease the amount of time it takes is 1, the number of hours you have available. 2 is the amount of capital that you have. 3 is the skill set that you're bringing to the table. So like if you're like Jay, you have 20 years of design experience. That's the kind of thing that'll speed you up. And then 4 is you could either call it mindset or focus or discipline, your ability to put your energy, all your resources, and deploy it into the right area. And each of those 4 things, like if you have those dialed in, those are the things that are going to speed up the process. But if you don't have, and you can get by without, like you don't have to be doing, full time, but if you have extra money to invest and you have really discipline and good focus and like you have a skill set coming in, those are the 4 things for anybody watching that I would ask yourself, like, where are you in terms of proficiency in each of those areas, what you bring to the table, and then you can come up with a rough estimate for yourself.
Well, to leave a link in the description to that workflow page, which looks like this, and then all you have to do is enter your prompt right here. So I've just entered a quick sample prompt right here. This is supposed to create vintage sunset graphic of a Highland cow that says, "Fun fact, I don't care." Then just click run this to live, and there we go. I think that is a really, really good result. This is completely new, this model, and it already looks as good, if not better, than what Ideogram or Midjourney could do. So here's the second prompt I'm going to try. It says, "Vintage sunset vector t-shirt design of a dog with the text, 'Live more, worry less,' isolated on a white background." And there we go. It was very quick. It is spelled correctly, very easy to read. The graphic is great as well. And once you're happy with the result, you can click download up here, or if you want to go to a previous result and download that, you just have to click on it, scroll down a bit, and you'll see the download button right here at the bottom. Method number 2 is on fontsquirrel.com, and they have got a really cool font identifier. All you have to do here is upload an image. So in this case, I'll do a more POD-centric example. Oftentimes we see a t-shirt design, we wonder what the font is and want to use it in our own design. So that's what I'm doing right here. Let's say you wanted to know what this font is. You can then use this box right here to once again highlight the piece of the design that you want to identify. You can resize the box, or you can also just draw a new one like this. Just click and drag around the word president in my case, because that is the easiest one to make out, I think, for this font. And then you just need to click this purple button down here and it will quickly load font suggestions. This is an amazing website for finding free fonts. So because whilst this is a library of free fonts, some of them are only free for personal use. So make sure to click on this filter right here, and then you get a lot of pages of really nice looking fonts. Now if we scroll down on the first page, you can already see Balota looks great, and this Bicat font looks pretty neat. I'll show you an example for Balota right here. So click into the font that you like. You'll see some example mock-ups or the font in use. And if you scroll down a bit, you get to this section over here where it says license free for commercial use. So this is the green light that you can click download right here, install it on your device, put it in a t-shirt design and sell it anywhere you want. And you've also got a little box right here where you can test the font out. So if you've got a specific word, to check what the different letters look like. I think as you can see, there is a lot of variety, stuff for lots of different niches and applications. It has many, many pages, way more than 5. I have tested it. I have a question about how to research using free tools. I've been in POD for around 2 years. I don't have the budget to pay for any tools, but I've never had a winning product on merch. Right now, I'm stuck at tier 100. First of all, props to you for sticking with this for 2 years, even though you haven't seen a lot of results. That definitely shows that you're dedicated. Now, if you don't have any budget for tools or for ads, you have to try and find lower competition niches that still have demand and enter them with high quality, unique designs to have a chance of getting sales. I've covered a bunch of different free research methods in the past on my channel, and I also more recently made a video conducting free research with Adam Young for an entire hour.
If you're in a very specific niche that is a part of your life and a part of who you are, let's give the nurse as an example, and let's say that there is a group about nurses in France or in the UK or whatever. All you have to do is have a photo of you wearing one of the t-shirts that you have, a selfie, on your profile with a link to the show, and then go comment on the group. You don't even have to post it on the group. People will find you because they would be like, oh, this is a nurse and she gave me some advice and I'm going to check out her profile. Or people in groups often ask questions relating to gifts.
Yeah.
And it's very easy.
And then it flips and you're helping them find a gift, right? You're not selling your
I've had it, and in the Jewish groups, I had it so much because people were like, okay, so what is everybody buying their family for Hanukkah? And I'm like, well, I have a lot of cool designs for Hanukkah if you want.
Here is the best free vectorizer AI alternative. The website link is svgconverter.app. All you have to do is drag and drop your JPEG or PNG image onto the homepage. Then you will want to change the settings to custom and ideally only choose a small amount of numbers for the color scheme. Then you need to click on save and hit vectorize at the bottom of the page. This is going to process for a few seconds and then you will get some very decent results. Refine the results further by changing the blending options from 0 to complete. Hit vectorize again and then you're ready to click download at the bottom right of the page to save the new vector file to your device.
You can get a pretty good profit margin on a t-shirt, but their profit margins on apparel still aren't the same as what you can get with a tote bag or a phone case. Mugs are good too, but I've only dabbled in mugs a little bit and seen sales. It hasn't ever been a product that I really built out within my shop.
I've never listed a tote bag on Etsy. I have had a lot of success with coffee mugs and t-shirts and stuff like that, sweatshirts. But yeah, I've never considered tote bags. They do sell on Amazon. Like I do get the occasional sale there. But it's an interesting one to try out. So anyone listening, you probably have a lot less competition in tote bag niches than you would do in like the typical t-shirt stuff. Being really original, coming up with new ideas, if you get the right idea, that can be brilliant because there's a lot of interest. You're the first to market in a sense, but you have to realize a lot of those original ideas that are brand new, they are going to flop. Like you might think they're the best idea, but they're just not. In the eyes of the customer, that is. Designing something that is inspired from designs that are already working. I'm not saying copy them, but inspired by that, by a working concept. That tends to be an easier way to get some traction, but then you have to compete, right? They both have their pros and cons, so there's definitely more risk going completely original. So I like your approach with going down the inspired route first to kind of prove to yourself, okay, I can do this, and then take the more risky path.
You just have to work, especially at the beginning. For example, I worked like 10 to 12 hours per day without earning this much money, almost no money. And I worked every day. I think last 3 or 4 years, I had no days off, not one. Not even when I'm now in for holidays in Dubai, I still go to co-working space and work there. I don't make any excuses for this. You have to work. If you want to have the success in print on demand, you have to work. The first, especially at first, I think 2-3 years, you have to work your ass off, make more than the competition, then I think you will have success.
That's a good message for sure, because the beginning is the hardest to get things working. So that's the first thing that I would recommend you might want to add to the application. It's design experience. Even if you're not an experienced designer, just adding it in there and attaching a portfolio with some examples might help you get some higher chances. The second thing that I did is I mentioned that I sell on other platforms as well. Back when I applied, I had already been selling on Redbubble and on TeePublic for a little while. I believe maybe Spreadshirt as well. So number 3 would be adding that you have an external following. If that is the case, you could show them an Instagram page or a TikTok page. If you have sort of a source of external traffic that you can lead to Amazon to help promote your products, then that's a great thing to add to the application, because Amazon loves to get free traffic. If you don't have a big page or anything, or a big following anywhere, then you could still mention in the application that you have marketing experience, you know how to run Facebook ads.
How many daily uploads do you recommend on Merch by Amazon?
As many as you can, while remaining consistent and not sacrificing, quality. I mean, that might be one good one. One awesome, targeted, great design is better than uploading 100 trash designs, So find that balance that works for you, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's a good point. So if you were in a higher tier, don't just max it out to max it out. How to make an AI-generated design fully ready for print on demand. First of all, you need to upscale the graphic or vectorize it to increase its quality, because we need at least 4,000 to 5,000 pixels if we're going to print the graphic on a t-shirt. After you've done this, you also need to remove the background, because unfortunately, none of the AIR tools generate any graphics with a transparent background. So remove that background color, make sure to tidy up any imperfections or issues with Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator, and then you're ready to upload your design to your print-on-demand marketplace of choice.
Yeah.
How to deal with copycats?
Just ignore them. Move on.
Yeah, that's what I would say as well.
Yeah.
Are we all in agreement?
Yeah.
You can't win, can't beat them.
Join them.
You can never catch up. Well, you can beat them, but you can never catch up with deleting the designs. You can create better designs or run more ads on your designs. You can be original and create a design first that then sells well.
So if you happen to have a design that is a good seller, it's maybe your top seller or becoming your top seller, do what you can to maintain the placement of that. I had a few bestsellers a couple years ago, and I thought, this is before I knew stuff. I let them, they were page 1 in a really good niche. I was making great sales, and I thought, I've made it.
What I like to do is I like to copycat myself. So I'll upload the same design a few times and I'll just flood the niche basically.
Here is what the old version of Ideogram came up with. And this is the exact same prompt with the new version that just dropped, Ideogram 2.0. And here's another example of a very long phrase and a difficult layout where Ideogram messed up the W. And here is once again the same prompt, except with Ideogram version 2.0, everything is spelled correctly and the design looks a lot nicer. And another example of Ideogram 1.0, the old version, messing up the text on some of these letters, and here you can see what Ideogram version 2 did with the same prompt. It looks a lot nicer, everything is spelled correctly. So in order to use the new version of Ideogram, you need to come to the home page and click into the prompt bar. If you're still seeing these old presets down here for illustration, 3D render, typography, etc., then you still have the old version selected. In that case, you need to head over to the symbol right here next to generate, which opens up the advanced settings, and now we can change the model from 1.0 to 2.0. And as you can see, we've now got this new color palette feature that gets added, and the style presets have also completely changed. So let's say you've generated this graphic right here in Ideogram and you want to remove this extra owl. You really like this graphic, but that just ruins it. So what you can do now with their new canvas features, you can click on these three buttons right here, go to edit in canvas, then go ahead and select the magic fill from the left hand side. I'm going to choose the lasso mask tool right here and then draw a shape around this owl right here to select it. Then I'm going to hit next and I'll say remove the owl. And as simple as that, we can now just click magic fill. It is going to regenerate our graphic, keeping everything intact as you can see and matching the style right here by just adding a few leaves. And you can use this to not only edit little imperfections, but also fix spelling mistakes or change the phrase that's been added to your graphic, for example. So let me show you how the color palette feature works as well. By default, this is turned off. If you want to turn it on, you just click onto these colors. You also have this drop down with a bunch of presets. You can also add a custom color scheme down here. So if you click on this and we want one that's specific for Halloween, let's use this custom color scheme first. I'm going to hit generate and then just rerun this with a few other selections. Let's try pastel as well. I think mosaic looks quite nice. And then we'll go with the jungle one perhaps as well to compare that. So here we've got this side-by-side comparison. As you can see, the color schemes are clearly different in all of these. This is the first one with a Halloween setting. This one is the most suitable for Halloween, I would say. You can also see the color scheme that was used down here. You can even copy that same color scheme or use it again. And one thing to bear in mind, I did specify that this should be isolated on a black background, but that gets overwritten by one of the colors in your color scheme. Here it shows the pink and use the rest of the colors for the actual graphics. So let me show you a quick trick to get better results with the image trace feature within Adobe Illustrator. So first I'm going to click on my image, click on image trace and bring up the image trace panel. And then I'm going to click on this auto color button right here, which will refresh the result. And there we go. After a few seconds, that's done. And it usually does a way better job actually turning this into a decent vector than messing around with all of these advanced settings. And it is also a lot quicker. So if I had to start again from scratch, which skills would I emphasize? In my opinion, the two most important skills for print-on-demand sellers are design and research. And if I was starting out with no money to invest into marketing, into ads, then I would definitely emphasize research, because you can have an average design, but if you found the right niche and also figured out what to design for that niche, then you're going to have a higher chance of selling something organically compared to someone who has a great design but chose the wrong niche. If, however, I did have money to invest into advertisement, I would definitely emphasize design skills, because the better our design, the more likely it is going to convert with ads. Step number 3 is checking the content policy or the terms of service of whichever marketplace you're selling on. This is very important because even if you've not copied anyone's design, even if you've not used someone's intellectual property, and even if you've checked for trademarks, which I'm going to go into in the next step, you might still not be allowed to sell a specific type of design because it's in the rules of the specific marketplace that you're selling on. I'll give you an example for this. Amazon Merch has got quite a strict content policy, and one of the things that they say is you're not allowed to sell anything related to human tragedy. This happens a lot around 9/11, Patriot Day. So when it comes to September, people are looking to buy shirts for Patriot Day to remember the victims, for example. And this is not allowed on Amazon. Do you think Merch by Amazon is a platform that someone can still start on today and build a thriving business as others did back in 2017? Yes, I strongly believe this because I see many examples of it in my Discord community server. One of those examples would be Gert Yang, who only started taking his Amazon Merch account seriously last year, and he's gone from about 100 to 200 sales per month to nearly reaching 2,000 sales a month this October. Another great example of this would be Steve, who only started about 2 years ago. He's now got a thriving Amazon Merch account, and he did this with a 9-to-5. And I actually interviewed Steve to figure out how he did it. Juna's website, or Detour Shirts, it's in the downloads tab. What you can do right here is you can order this from lowest to highest price, and that way all of the freebies show up at the top. So here we've got some how to draw instructions. We've got a Merch by Amazon tier 10 help sheet. There is a daily sales Amazon Upload Tracker. Juna's developed so many cool things right here. The impact formula for success, a t-shirt design checklist. This one's quite good over here. So holiday t-shirt niches of the month. So he's got every single month from January to December, where he's got some of the more popular niches during each month that he shows. So you can just add them to the cart and download them for free right here. He does have some paid bundles right here as well, as you can see, like a few vector packs, scalable quotes. There's a checklist for how to create a sponsored product ad with Amazon ads. If you're getting into that and if you're struggling a bit, like there's so many things to help people out in different situations that it's definitely worth checking out this website right here, or this part of Juna's website, which is the download section. So let's say you've just generated this graphic right here with Kittle AI. You've gone ahead and removed the background and upscaled the image as well. You kind of want to tidy up some of the imperfections or get rid of some of the objects that are scattered around this pumpkin. Well, you can do that with the eraser tool. In case you didn't know, they've recently added this to Kittle. Once you click into it, you can draw over any imperfections or unwanted shapes and erase them from your graphic. And just like you would do in Photoshop or Illustrator, you can use the closing bracket to increase the size of your brush, and that way speed up the process a lot. If you accidentally draw into a shape that you didn't want to erase, you can hit Control or Command Z to reverse that last step and undo it. And once you're done with this, you can click Done at the very top, and there we go. Now we've got a very clean American flag themed pumpkin. I would say lottery campaigns are good as a beginner for sure. Definitely start some of them, and they're a bit of a shotgun approach. Like you're going to miss a lot of shots, but you'll hit some here and there. And what Tamaz does is the Tamaz method is more of a sniper approach, focused. He wants to target one very broad keyword. He wants to find one design that converts very well on that keyword, and then he does fixed bids, because then you always, let's say you have a fixed bid for 30 cents, 35 cents, you always bid that much, meaning you always show up in really good spots. If you do down only, then sometimes you might bid like 4 cents and you will show up in a very terrible place on Amazon where you're not going to convert as likely. So his idea is with fixed bids, you're going to convert more often. He wants to convert as much as possible.
A good practice that's been effective for me is just scrolling through best-selling designs and looking at them and taking time to absorb the design styles and what looks good on a t-shirt. The analogy has been made before about counterfeiting and about counterfeit money, and how bank tellers often, they're good at spotting counterfeits because they handle real money all the time. They're handling physical money. And so when something is off and something that's not quite right, comes their way, they spot it. And it's like, well, wait, this is a counterfeit. And I think the same thing can be true for t-shirt design, that when you take the time to look at good t-shirt design and you see those best sellers, and then maybe see one of your own and compare, look at your screen and look at, what you've got up there. Well, wait, something's not right.
Resource number 3 is my own website, where I've got a freebies section right here. If you click on this, you will see a bunch of different downloads. The most recent one I've added is 31 ideogram prompts. It took me a while to put that together, but I think it will really help you get better results. I've also got prompt guides for DALL-E 3 and Midjourney over here. So a lot of stuff for AI. We've also got a free POD graphics bundle. This is a bit of a starter pack. These are graphics that I've created myself that are commonly used in t-shirt designs. That way you kind of have a starting point if you're new to this. Mock-up starter pack as well. If we hover over the thumbnail, this is a kawaii bundle of graphics that you can use in your designs. A texture bundle if you want to add texture during the design process. You've got some free options there. Got an animal bundle and a Halloween Midjourney guide as well if you want to get ready ahead of time. I do add new things to this occasionally, like every other month probably there'll be a new free download right here. So even if you already have all of these on your device, if you've already downloaded them, do check back occasionally. There might be something new for you waiting. Let me show you how good this custom GPT by My Designs is. So first of all, I'd say please help me come up with some t-shirt design prompts for New York. in a vintage style. Then I'll hit enter, and then we're going to get a bunch of suggestions. Now I'm going to take one of my favorite results from the suggested prompts, and I'll tell this GPT to scale out this prompt to 50 other popular cities in the United States. If we hit enter on this, it's now going to use this prompt as a basis and then apply different cities to it, amend it slightly so that the graphics actually suit the style. And now we've got a long list of prompts generating that are amazing to target lots of different popular cities. One thing that I would like to remind you of right here, if you've already been doing this business for a while and you still feel like you're not really getting the results that you were hoping for, don't look back a week or even a month. Look back 1 year. How much progress have you made over a year? Oftentimes, zooming out a little bit in our journey shows us that we're actually making good progress. And the results that you were getting a year ago were so much lower than they are now. And back then, you would have probably expected to be doing way worse in the future. So always compare your current statistics, your current sales to what you were doing 1 year ago. And that's usually very, very motivating and shows you that the work you've put in has actually started to pay off. That's literally a simple reason why you're not getting sales, is that your designs look worse. And I'm not saying that to insult you. Like, my designs look pretty rubbish when I started out as well, and I was struggling to get sales with them. So if you're new to this, if you're not a designer at heart, then also look into pre-made graphics. That's another good way to kind of get around the issue of not having design skills, or look into AI art generators, which can help you create nicer looking designs. But you should still look into some of the basics of t-shirt design, such as hierarchy, font selection, color schemes, and make sure that you're able to create a decent looking t-shirt design that's at least as good as your competition, if not better.
Personalizable products, if you're selling on Etsy, I think is a must-have. You know, when you're talking about selling on Etsy, people are there because they want something unique. They want to buy someone a gift that the person's going to be like, oh my gosh, this is the most wonderful gift. Where did you get this? Like, I know me personally, I love giving gifts that people are like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Thank you so much. Like, I never even would have thought that I could get something with my face on it, or my name, or my anniversary date. And so I think that is a great way to add value, especially if you find a niche that doesn't have any personalization. Like, if I'm looking into a niche and the first page doesn't have a single personalized product, I just see signs.
There is a really cool AI art generator called Playground that you can use for free to generate up to 15 images every 3 hours. The cool thing is they have a lot of preset templates right here for t-shirts, for posters, sticker designs, or even birthday cards. Let's click on the t-shirt category right here, and as you can see, there is a ton of really cool looking templates. I'm going to choose this one right here with the cats and coffee, and now we can tell Playground AI at the bottom what we want to change. So let's say change this to suit corgis instead of cats. Hit create, and here we go. That looks really cool. They've changed the text to say corgis, and the graphic looks different as well, and this definitely has a really good style for print on demand. The point of the story is, if I had listened to one of those comments back in 2019 telling me that POD is too saturated, that it's too late and I shouldn't start, I should just give up, I would have never got there. I would have had to go back to a job, and I would have never been able to experience this freedom to now even make YouTube videos to teach you how to replicate my process and hopefully get there as well.
Secondly, I think a beginner mistake is like being frantic, you know, with your store. I sometimes, you know, whether it's a YouTube video that someone's commenting on, post, or I'll receive an email from someone, and they're frantic about trying to start their print-on-demand store yesterday, right? Where they feel like they need to go as quick as possible and get into the world of POD. And you can't do that because, again, you're building a business. I always say print on demand is never going to go out of style. And that's not meant to be like that this is like a get rich quick type of thing. But like print on demand is just how we are fulfilling our products. We're creating apparel businesses or home decor businesses or accessory businesses, and those are going to exist forever, right? We're just using print on demand to do it. So there's no reason to be frantic.
I also want to share a success story from one of my viewers. And this was shared in the free print-on-demand community server that I've got on Discord with over 3,000 members. We've got a success channel in there where people frequently share their successes. New print-on-demand sellers, old print-on-demand sellers share their tier-ups, their daily sales, when they've hit a new sales target or royalty target. So check out the server if you want some proof that this still works even for beginners. And the story of this specific person is that he started Amazon Merch in June last year, and he actually managed to get 2,000 sales up to January, which is a massive amount, a great achievement. There's just been an example in my print-on-demand community where someone about half a year ago celebrated their first $1,000 month, right? So this was last year leading up to Q4, and now they're consistently getting around $2,000 a month in sales. So you can see right there, in between that time frame, Q4 happened, and Q4 increase the baseline for this person. I'm telling you this to motivate you and show you that even though in the moment right now it might feel like you're finding great niches, you're designing great stuff, but you're not really getting much feedback from these, and it feels like you're wasting your time, trust me, if you stay consistent, this time isn't wasted. If you've had a rejection already, or maybe multiple rejections, then you might be losing hope, which is totally understandable. But let me show you some proof that you're not just wasting your time for this. So I did a poll on my YouTube community page where I asked, for those of you who got accepted to the Amazon Merch program, how many application attempts did it take you to get in? 32% of people that voted said that they got in first try. 8% of people got in after 2 to 4 application attempts. 2% of people got in with 5 to 10 attempts. And 4% got in with 10 plus attempts. Also left one space for people to vote if they haven't been accepted yet, and that was 54%. So basically, half of the people that voted had been accepted, the other half not yet. Out of the people that did get accepted, 2/3 were accepted with their first application, but 1/3 got in after multiple attempts. Here's a quick and easy way to remove challenging backgrounds from your AI ad with color ranges. First of all, open up your image and head to Select, Color Range. Then use the eyedropper tool to click on the background color right here. Choose Invert on the right hand side, and now you can adjust this fuzziness slider right here to erase more or less of the background. I'm going to turn up mine quite high. Then I'm going to click OK. And then you just need to create a mask from your selection right here. And then as you can see, we've erased the background very effectively, and we can use it on different shirt colors. Like we just had a discussion in the Discord, in my Discord group, Discord server. I don't want to like talk down on anyone because it's completely normal as a beginner, but there was a person who was creating designs, sharing them with the group for feedback, and we were kind of all wondering, who are you targeting here? Like, who are these designs for? And the person didn't know themselves. They didn't know who they're targeting. They were like a random combination of graphics that didn't really seem to make much sense, which is fine. Like, you have to make the mistake to learn from it. We've all created rubbish designs when we started out. I did. I'm sure you maybe did. I don't know. It's hard to imagine, but yeah. So make sure to do research, find good niches, and make sure that the designs you create for those niches also resonate with the audience of that niche. SEO isn't as important as you think. Selling a product that is in demand is what matters.
Yes, I know that many people want to understand SEO and they do so much research. I was one of those people that was watching probably every single video that existed about SEO and trying to understand what it meant, what it was. What I've learned is all you really need is a product that is in demand. And part of that is with your SEO, finding a really great keyword, a keyword that has high search volume. At the end of the day, search volume is what drives sales, specifically on Etsy, because Etsy is a search engine.
You can have a terrible listing in a great niche and get a lot of sales, but you can't have a really amazing listing in a terrible niche and make a lot of sales. It doesn't work. In this video, I'm going to share 7 t-shirt fonts with you that you can use to enhance your designs and make them stand out in the search results. First off, we've got Masterday, which is a sort of retro vintage script font with a very nice style. Moving on to font number 2, here we've got Thick, and this is a bit of a sort of handwritten script font. Font number 3 is called Witch Hazel, and I really like this one because it has a very fun feel to it. Next up, we've got Jacana, which is a really cool looking display font. It has this sort of retro feel to it. Font number 5 is called Paper Cutout, a very sort of fun and cute font. Next up, we've got Kenby Groovy, and this sort of groovy t-shirt design style has been doing really well. And font number 7 is one of the cleanest texture fonts that you can get for t-shirt design. It's called the Edmund font. Do we rely only on AI to create designs, or do we also create them with Illustrator or Photoshop? In my opinion, if you get really proficient in both AI and a tool like Photoshop or Illustrator, you're going to be a way better print-on-demand seller. Yes, sometimes the AI tools will give you really good graphics that you can use as they are, but in many cases, you're going to have a better time taking it a step further into Illustrator, making some modifications, fixing some imperfections, and perhaps even adding the text afterwards if the AI can't do it. So in my opinion, you shouldn't just rely on AI. Yes, it can help you speed up some of your processes and get better graphics more easily, but don't put all of your eggs in one basket. I personally use both of these tools, Adobe and AI tools, in combination all the time.
I hope that you guys that are watching this live hear this overarching concept of simplicity, because I feel like every single thing we've talked about today, mock-ups, Facebook ads, mock-up images, like everything we've chatted about all comes back to being really simple. Like simple really is key. I think that is one of the biggest mistakes that new print-on-demand sellers make, is they overthink it. They make their designs with too many colors, too many graphics. They, just really overthink things and go too far because they think they have to be so crazy different, when really the simple stuff sells. Like gray shirts with white text on it sell 100 times more than shirts with 7 different graphics and 3 different colors.
You will find quite a few trademarks in Class 25 for very commonly used words that are very common in the English language. And I'm talking about single word trademarks here. So it might be, I think the word fish used to be protected for the use on t-shirts, or the word perfect is trademarked in Class 25. Words like that, they're okay. You can use them in your listing. It's totally fine as long as you don't use them standalone on a t-shirt or standalone on a listing. They don't tend to cause rejections on Amazon Merch, for example. And yeah, if they're a commonly used word, it's fine. Where you have to watch out for with single word trademarks is if it's more of a brand name, a word that doesn't get used in the English language commonly. So Nike, Adidas, Microsoft would be some obvious examples. Even things like the word smiley. It's not really a word that people use in their day-to-day speech, and the word smiley is actually protected, and it does cause rejection. Oftentimes, if we kind of zoomed in and we're looking at a closer time frame, there is going to be ups and downs. So if your average daily sales is maybe 5 at the moment, you're getting 5 sales per day roughly, you are going to have days where it drops down to maybe 1 sale, or maybe you even have an entire week where you're just getting 1 to 2 sales per day. And you might feel like this is the end of your print-on-demand business, sales are dropping and they'll never recover, they'll never come back. But truth is, this happens to everyone, no matter which level you're at. And typically, after a few bad days, or maybe even after a couple bad weeks, things do recover and you're going to have normal days again, maybe even some really high days. There are definitely highs and lows throughout the month, throughout the days, throughout the weeks. It's when you zoom out, you see more of a consistent stream of sales. This happens to me as well. It doesn't matter how many sales you're getting. This is what I like to call the Q4 effect. Yes, sales drop back down. The crash after December to January is usually quite a tough one. However, typically, once sales recover throughout February, March, you kind of come to a new baseline in sales. So if during 2024, your monthly sales were kind of hovering around the 200 sale per month mark, and they were slowly going up or down every now and then. If that was your baseline, next year, 2025, your new baseline could very well be 400 sales a month or even 500 sales a month. That is what Q4 tends to do to your sales. It increases your baseline average sales that you get on a monthly basis. So I totally understand why beginners often fall for this one, because you might see a design out there that's selling really well and you assume, well, if I create the exact same design, I'm also going to get a lot of sales. Well, first of all, that's rarely ever the case, probably never really the case. And secondly, you are leaving yourself open to get bombarded with copyright cases and people reporting your listings, which will eventually get your stores banned. Avoid this at all cost. If you try to profit off of other people's work, other people's brands, you're definitely going to get your accounts into trouble in the long run, especially on Amazon Merch. They're very, very strict with enforcing these rules. I know you might see some other people selling stuff related to Disney, for example, on Etsy. It's very, very popular and common, but that doesn't mean it is allowed, and it doesn't mean it's safe, because you could get sued by Disney at any point. 3 different methods for finding sub-niches during your print-on-demand research. The first method I've got for you uses a free tool called Research Base. And I'll show you an example right here. So if we type in gaming shirt, it will bring up a bunch of long-tail keywords and quite a few sub-niche ideas as well. If you want to check any of these out, all you have to do is go over to the right, click on the magnifying glass, and then it will bring up the Amazon Merch results. For method number 2, I'm going to be using Flying Research and their Seller Trends tab. And I'll change this right here to newcomers and turn down the BSR range to about 700k. And now we just need to type in a broad niche that we want to find sub-niches for. Another method that you've got for finding sub-niches is Merch Informer's Keyword Finder. In this example, I've typed in St. Patrick's Day and it's given me 322 different keywords or phrases right here. You also get the Amazon search volume, the Google search volume, the cost per click, and the competition, like a little indicator. Today, I'm going to show you 3 different methods to increase the quality of your AI images totally for free. Option number 1 I wanted to share with you is dgb.lol. Go to the left where it says tools, click on this, and then select the AI image upscaler. I will drag a few files into this, and then you have to click submit. Then it's going to say tasks queued. The queue is over here where it says my files. Option number 2 that I've got for you is upscale.org. So you can download it, by the way, in the top right corner. Just click the download button. All you have to do is select an image, and then it's going to load this, and then you just click upscale, and that's it. It says hold on. In some cases, you might want to use an alternative way to upscale your graphics or increase their quality called vectorizing. So you want to drag and drop your graphic, just let go, and then it's going to open a new site or a new page. You need to actually click vectorize down here. Here's how to use Topaz Gigapixel, which is potentially one of the best AI upscalers. So first of all, you will want to drag and drop your images into this field right here. Then on the right hand side, you can select 6x for the upscale to get a decent enough quality for t-shirt design. And then you have a bunch of different models to choose from for the upscaler. For print-on-demand graphics that are more simplistic, I would recommend testing out text and shapes, or the low res image one right here. Also gets decent results. You can zoom in on your graphic to see what the image is going to look like once upscaled. There's some additional sliders right here to sharpen or denoise the results as well. And then you can click export at the bottom to bulk upscale all the images with the same settings in one go. I also made a YouTube tutorial comparing Topaz to some of the free alternative upscalers out there. If you can try and make friends with anyone who's in this space, that can give you a leg up, because just having that dialogue about different updates or different ideas to make money or add an income stream, whatever it may be, just having someone to like go back and forth with, that is super valuable. There is lots of like Facebook groups, Discord groups. So if you can, be active and contribute, you probably will make some friends with time. And most people in these groups, if you have a question, you can, or if you want to reach out to them, just send them a DM. Most people are really nice and helpful.
Philip's got one that I'm in his Discord, and it's very active. There's a lot of great stuff there, but there's tons of other groups, and there may even be some local print-on-demand related groups or meetups in your city or where you're located, because networking and chatting with other people and bouncing ideas, that's the one thing that is really missing or a little bit harder to achieve when it comes to these like remote entrepreneurial style jobs, right?
Every new opportunity that any person goes into, we all go through the period of uninformed optimism where it's like, oh, this is great. Print on demand, so easy. I see people making this money. It's just t-shirts. Come on, like, why not? And then you get into it. You start actually going through whatever course materials. Then you go into the period of informed pessimism where you're like, oh, wow, this is actually tough. There's work involved with this. And then you're like, all right, I'll see it through. Like, you still have the original vision of like what this could be. And that's where you go through like the valley. And you call this like the valley of testing, the valley of uploads. But the bottom line is that this is the barrier to entry. And that's where most people turn around and then they just end up repeating the same cycle. So for everybody who's in that valley, just keep pushing through, because I can promise you that if you turn back now and like see some other shiny object or drop shipping, whatever it is, they all have that valley involved.
So the first GPT that I've got for you is Subniche Sniper by Merch Momentum. Maybe we'll go with fitness, hit enter, and let's see what this comes back with. First off, we've got yoga right here, so you can target yoga beginners. So tool number 2 I've got for you is a lot more visual. It's called Sticker Whiz, dog drinking a galaxy themed cup of coffee, for example. It's very quick as well. So here we've got the result. That looks pretty cool. Next up, we've got the Canva GPT. Create an inspirational t-shirt design, and it's not going to use DALL-E 3 in this case. And now if we scroll up, you can see 5 different design ideas. Moving on to tool number 4, here we've got a listing creator. Let's go with option 1, start your listing from keywords only. A few keywords that are fairly quick and simple to input into this. It's now going to use those as inspiration and create the entire Amazon merch listing based off of that. I would personally focus most of my energy on evergreen designs that can sell the entire year. For example, create designs for a dad that likes a certain hobby, right? A dad that plays pickleball, for example, and make it a funny phrase that would resonate with a daughter that is shopping for Christmas gifts. If you do this for enough people, if it's gifts that are specific to a person for a topic that sells the entire year, and if you have a lot of those designs out there, you will notice during Q4, a lot of those start to sell, even if they've never sold before. And then good thing is the next year, a lot of those new sales can turn into regular sellers. That is the goal, rather than just focusing on something that's Christmas themed or Halloween themed, because there is a lot of very big holidays in Q4 that can kind of draw away people's attention, I think. And yeah, sure, you can make a lot of sales that way, but afterwards, again, we go back to the drop, right? It's not consistent. One of the most common questions that I get is, why are my designs not selling? Now, there could be a lot of answers to this question. It's hard to know without seeing your designs, but in most cases, I think it's just the fact that you haven't really given them enough time. As a beginner, if you're only a few weeks in, or even 1 month, 2 months in, it is very normal to have 0 sales, 1 sale, 2 sales, a very low amount, because most designs take a bit of time to get rolling or to get some traction. Most beginners, they maybe struggle with selecting the right niches, or the designs are not as good as the competition. And that means that you will either have a hard time being found in the niches that you've entered, and there's just too much competition, or if a customer finds your design and the design is just not very great, they're going to choose a different listing. They're going to buy from your competition because they might have higher quality or better looking designs.
Yeah, 300 DPI is a lie. Everybody's obsessed that the file has to be 300 DPI. No one cares what is the DPI of the file.
Mm-hmm.
The DPI is how many dots are per inch, which is only calculated once you put it on a product. So just look at the pixel size of something, and if you have 3000 pixels by 3000 pixels and you put it on a 10-inch canvas, you get 300 DPI. 300 DPI, as much as it became the industry standard, it's an industry standard for selling printable wall art, not for print on demand, because many print on demand products are good with 150 DPI. And I was showing that in that video because I was literally ordering products on purpose that were under 300 DPI and showing their quality.
Can I use the images that I generate for commercial purposes? Now, the answer is it depends. In most cases, yes, you can, but it depends on the terms and conditions. What you have to do is, whichever tool you're using, check on their homepage, on their website, if they have a link for their terms and conditions. Well, they should do. They will do somewhere. Once you've opened that link, hit Control F or Command F and search for the word commercial. It should quickly direct you to the relevant paragraph that tells you either, yes, you can use the generations or the outputs for commercial purposes or not. That seems to be the case with most AI tools that I've spoke about in the past, whether it is Ideogram, Flux Pro, DALL-E 3, Midjourney, Kittle AI, all of those you can use the outputs for commercial purposes, but the terms and conditions can always change, so always double check. One more thing to note here as well, this is usually the case with the free versions as well. So for example, Ideogram, you can currently generate 10 images per day, also use them on t-shirts. You don't have to be signed up to get those commercial usage rights. I think a good example for this is the Eras tour that Taylor Swift is on. Since then, there's been so many shirts selling that kind of have a spin on that name of the Eras tour. Like in my mom era, in my teacher era, nurse era. And it's not directly linked to her song lyrics, like it's not the title of any of her songs, right, or in the lyrics, but like you said, that is directly coming from the brand of Taylor. That's why people like it. So yeah, it's always a bit of a difficult one because you're not really copying song lyrics, but you're still benefiting from Taylor's name in a sense.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that because one of the things that the Patent and Trademark Office refused is an individual tried to register "I'm in my villain era," and they said that fails to function as a trademark. That is a reference to a Taylor Swift song.
Let me show you how Kittle Copilot can make your design life easier. For example, in this design right here, I don't really like the way this unicorn looks, so what I can do is click on it, and then this little bar pops up just above, and Kittle Copilot is on the left. If we open this up, we now get a lot of suggested assets and graphics that are very similar to the one that we have selected. So for example, we could now hit replace. Now we've got a new graphic, and it's been added exactly in place of the old one. You can also select the text, for example, and ask Kittle Copilot to change the text to something new. Now I could say, for example, I want a funny phrase or pun about a grumpy unicorn, and for the tone of voice I've selected fun. Now I'll hit bulk replace text and it will generate something new and add it right here into these text boxes straight away. So we've got grumpy corn giggles. Not sure about giggles, but grumpy corn is pretty suitable for this design. So let's say using Kittle, you really like the style of this graphic right here and you want to apply the same style to some other topics and other niches very easily. Well, what you can do now is you can right click on the graphic and then hit save as image gen style. Then this sidebar will pop up where you can select sets generator. And here now you have this style saved as a preset. I'm going to select it and then fill in these prompt boxes down here with other topics. So I've filled in a few of these and now I'm just going to hit autocomplete for the rest of the boxes. And now I'm going to click generate set at the bottom. And there we go. Now it's generated a bunch of graphics that all look very similar to the original, definitely have the same kind of vibe. And I could now use these in my t-shirt designs or sell them as digital downloads. I found a really good background remover that works way better than ClipDrop for print-on-demand graphics. For example, here we can see how ClipDrop removed part of the words in this plant design, whereas the new background remover that I found called Pixian left everything intact. And then for this mountain sunset graphic right here, ClipDrop left a lot of white in between the gaps of the sunset, whereas Pixian did a really good job of removing all of the white where necessary. So here's how to use Pixian. I'm on their homepage and I'm going to drag and drop multiple files into the middle. Then it will remove the background right here in bulk very cleanly, and then you can click download all at the top. I found a new vectorizer called Recraft AI that you can use for free. So I'm on the homepage right here, click on start creating now, and then fill out these details to create your account. And once you've opened up your first project, just drag and drop your file of choice into here. And then in order to vectorize it, you want to click on this symbol right here at the top. Then it will just take a few seconds. And there we go. Now the vectorizing process is done. And on the left-hand side, you can also turn down the amount of colors, and you can also browse for different color palettes down here. Now, once you're happy with the result, you need to head to export and then decide which file format you want to save it in. If you wanted to retain the vector format, just download it as an SVG.
Every single keyword, I'll make a list and I'll look at the design. Does it make sense for that design, right? There's no random stuff thrown in there. Every single one is going to be one of the potentially best possible keywords. So I'll really take the time and fabricate something. But if it's on the same niche and I have the same kind of product description, then that's easy to copy paste, right? Once you've got the meat and potatoes. So yeah, I'm old
That's
school that
another
way too.
thing. Yeah, that's another good tip. Like if the designs are all within the same niche and it's kind of the same target audience, you can use the same description or bullet points, whatever it is, in most cases. I personally just change the title most of the time for each design, but the listing description doesn't really change much.
People, when they're buying a shirt, just like any product, they're not actually buying a shirt. What they're buying is how it's going to make them feel when they put it on. They're buying how their friends are going to react or laugh when they see them wearing it. And that's the real emotion. And then taking it even a step further, it's the community of people that would find those shirts interesting.
The people that are winning are the ones that can, like you said, reduce the time between, getting the feedback and implementing, right? Taking action. And
the metaphor that I like to use for it that has helped me understand it more is like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie American Sniper. When he's a sniper, he's laying down, he's looking at the target, but then next to him he has a spotter. And the spotter's job is to see the target and then tell him like where the shot hit or how far off he was, so then he can adjust for his next shot. The feedback from the market or from a coach or from whoever, that's your spotter sitting next to you, like telling you were 3 inches off, 3 feet, whatever it is, like make this adjustment, adjust this. But for some reason as humans, we have a tendency to just ignore the spotter or say, no, you're like, I took a good shot. And then we just take the same shot again, just out of like sheer ego and not wanting to accept the fact that we missed.
So there's this free browser extension called Snap for Merch on Demand that can help you create very unique looking Tumblr designs very easily. So I'm going to click edit details right here. I'm on the create page for Amazon Merch. Then I'm going to choose 2 different sizes right here. And then you've got this additional field pop up. If you can't see these 2 boxes, just right click on your screen, go to inspect, then click on this arrow symbol, choose application, and then merch by Amazon in the local storage section and hit clear all, and then refresh your page. And I'm going to drag my first design on the left hand side and then a completely different design on the right hand side. And if I now click apply and upload, it's going to start generating an image right here. And voila, very quickly we've got these designs with the perfect placement on the front and the back. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, comment 2025 underneath for some good luck in the new year. And if you want to learn about some tools that can help you increase your sales in 2025, make sure to check out this video next.